South Carolina was one of the hottest teams in college football to close out 2024, and they want to begin the 2025 season on that same token. But it all starts with an explosive offense taking that next step forward underneath LaNorris Sellers. You got the quarterback, but he needs a running mate like a Rocket Sanders. And the Gamecocks might have found their answer in Utah State tailback Rahsul Faison. Let's go ahead and talk about the move. Welcome on into SEC Unfiltered. It's Cole Thompson here, and today we talk about the tailback leaving the Beehive State to head on down to the Palmetto one. Real quickly, make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification, and subscribe to the channel because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow us on all the socials. Link is in the description. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson on all social platforms. And check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by our friends over at GameTime. Download the GameTime app and use the promo code SECU for $20 off your first purchase. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not just for college football games. You want a college basketball game to go to GameTime. You got an NFL game in the playoffs around the corner, go to GameTime. You got an NBA, an NHL, a concert, one of your favorite comedians comes to town, just go to GameTime and use the promo code SECU for $20 off your very first purchase. Rahsul Faison is awesome. If you did not pay attention to Mountain West football, number one, what are you doing on a Saturday night at 2 a.m? But number two, you would miss out on what a guy like Faison brings to the table. This is why the transfer portal was created. For players that maybe were overlooked throughout the high school rankings, probably weren't properly developed, but they go to a small school, they break on out, and then about a year from now, we're sitting here and saying, hey, where did I hear that name before? Faison. Oh, it's because he went into the portal and he became a human highlight reel the second they touched down at Willy B. He is one of those guys that I believe now with a lot of reps underneath his belt and more importantly with consistency in his ground game can be an immediate plug and play addition for any team. And he's going to the War Chickens, which is a good thing. Last season out with the Aggies, averaged 5.8 yards per play. Number 4 running back in the transfer portal, stands 5'11", 200 pounds. In his career, over 1,800 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. Last season, 8 touchdowns, over 1,100 yards. And by the way, it's done so against really quality competition. In games against top 25 teams, Faison averaged 5.1 yards per play. And for the season, he averaged almost 6 yards a play. So you're adding in a running back that has already shown you he has proven experience being the bell cow bruiser for an offense that needs to trust its run game. Now, why is this such a good fit for South Carolina? Number one, look at who your offensive coordinator is. Mike Shula. Shula worked with Cam Newton, and a lot of people are comparing Cam Newton and LaNorris Sellers because of their body styles, because of their play mechanisms. I personally think that that's a little bit egregious. I'm always going to feel that way whenever it comes to a college football legend like Cam, but I get the point. What were the things that Cam Newton had in Carolina during his MVP season? A stable 1-2 punch in the backfield and a solid tight end. Well, they went and they added in the tight end and Jordan Dingle. They have Oscar Attaway coming back in. They have Howe. They have some young talent waiting in the wings. But you need to get that extra guy. You need to get somebody who can be the dude on any given down to take the rock, have the elusiveness to win in the trenches, and then break up field for a home run play. That's what you're going to get in Faison. And it's a really good fit because that's what Shula wants. Number two, you're hurting other teams. Think about who was in the running for Rahsul Faison. Alabama wanted him. North Carolina wanted him. Tennessee was in the market at one point. There was rumors and speculation that multiple other SEC teams had reached out. And he's going to South Carolina. So the culture is working to where teams that are willing to not only pay, but teams that are also willing to kind of put their money where their mouth is to get better this year are getting turned down because Shane Beamer is selling a culture and an identity and a purpose down at Willy B, down in Cola. He's putting out his emphasis that what we have here is sustainable. And a big reason why we're going to be taking that next step forward is you're joining the system. And he seems very excited. When Hayes Fawcett decided to tweet out that he was going to South Carolina, said he was going to be in town this weekend and already getting ready to work. So he's believing in Beamer. He's believing in what the future holds. He's believing that there is a role for him and a pretty significant one. The third thing, it's just doubling down on what worked last year. Go back and watch the Cheez-It Bowl. Go back and see how that offense looked in the Citrus Bowl. Cheez-It Bowl, whatever Citrus Bowl, you know what I'm talking about. They weren't able to run the football with ease. That was because no Rocket Sanders. We had a couple of big-time plays from Oscar Attaway, the 4th down touchdown run, fantastic. But still, the thing that made LaNorris Sellers click was teams had to corral the box because they realized Rocket Sanders is a player or two away from blasting on up and leaving us in the dust for 6 points. We can't afford to have that to happen. So what do? You bring in a Faison, who also has shown the ability to be a quality pass catcher out of the backfield, can make defenders miss behind the line of scrimmage, and put himself in the open field to where he just breaks ankles on his way to the end zone for a house call. That's what you're doing. So you're adding in yet another thing to take the pressure off of LaNorris Sellers. The sights are all on 16, whether he's wearing the rec specs or not next year. And the reason why is because they know that he is talented enough to be taking the SEC by storm. They know that he is talented enough to be the face of college football because of an award that goes to the most valuable player in the sport and a guy that could lead South Carolina to its first college football playoff appearance. Anything and everything that can benefit a young quarterback to not feel like he has to be the first, second, third, fourth, and final option, you will take 10 times out of 10. Faison can provide that. Let's go ahead and grade the move as we always do. Elite, all league, winnable plus, winnable minus. I won't go into full detail. Elite, there's probably nobody that's going to be out there. All league, this is a very special category for players. Winnable plus, for my money, the way that I see it, it means that you're a guy that we're probably going to view as a day one starter. Winnable minus, a guy that we want to rotate on in. For me, I look at a guy like Rahsul Faison, I go winnable plus. Here's the reason. You have Oscar Attaway. You feel really good about him taking on over in a more significant role. You feel really good about Juwan Howell. You feel really good about Matthew Fuller. You feel really good about your quarterback room. Being a guy in LaNorris Sellers that can run the rock. You feel really good about where the passing attack is. You don't need a Faison to be your workhorse, but he can. And that's why it's a winnable plus. He's going to be your day one starter for my money. If he comes on in and he impresses the coaching staff and he immediately carves out a nice role, it's only going to expand. He's only going to take that next step forward. He's only going to be that player that we're talking about as he progresses into a more full-fledged 3-down runner. And now you get to open up your playbook. And now you get to say, well, we're sitting in 2nd and 7. If we hit the outside corner and Josiah Thompson closes the gap against a linebacker, we're going to gain 15 yards on this play. Faison, get on out there, boot, scoot, and boogie like Brooks and Dunn and make it 6 points. Do that. The other thing that's really important here, you're adding in a proof of concept. That's always going to be the benefactor. South Carolina was one of the best teams running the football to close out 2024. Rocket Sanders, LaNorris Sellers. The reason why you were able to win so many games was you had a stable emphasis on the ground and pound attack. You want to get back to that level. You can have that with Faison. You can have that with Attaway. You can have that with Howell. You can have that with plenty of players. And there's enough skill set to feel like any one of these guys who has proven themselves at a different level can take on a larger role. Oscar Attaway comes on in with experience from his time at North Texas. You're adding in Rahsul Faison, who was at Marshall, was at a junior college, went to Utah State for the last 2 years, nearly back-to-back 1,000-yard campaigns. Lot to like about what he provides for an offense that is going to take that next step forward. And the best part of all, you're continuing to double on down what works. South Carolina is going to finish the year as one of a top 15 teams in college football, and it was because they put an emphasis on the run game. Faison is not going to fade away because if he's going into the SEC. In fact, he's going to feel like he is a lightning rod that is about ready to strike down at Willy B from the hammer of Zeus himself and put him on the map. I'm going to tell you guys right now, of all the transfers that South Carolina has brought in, this one is my favorite because I do believe at the end of the year, we will be talking about him, maybe not as the all-SEC player of the year at running back, but certainly he's going to be a reason why South Carolina could dream of punching its ticket to the college football playoff. But let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of the addition of Rahsul Faison from Utah State going on down to fight with the War Chickens? Make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification, and subscribe to the channel because we talk college football every single day. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. Follow me at Mr. Cole Thompson and check out all of our great work found at SECUnfiltered.com. Until next time, folks, I am Cole Thompson. War Chickens, you got yourself a running back number 1. Peace.